Test, test. Hey, Dave, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me, Amanda?
Yep, thank you.
Okay, welcome to the Public Service Commission's administrative meeting for August 27th, 2025. Before we get to the, actually, let me take one temporary stop. So. announce that the Public Service Commission has brought on board Brandon Bowser as Assistant Director of the Electricity Division. And I actually want to note for the record, this is actually the second time that I've been in a position to hire Mr. Bowser, because I hired him when he came to work at the Maryland Energy Administration a few years ago, where he oversaw a number of the programs that MEA administers through the SEED, promoting energy efficiency and renewable energy. And so now he's joining our team, and he was a great employee at MEA when I was there, and I'm glad that he's now with us. So, Brandon, do you want to stand up there? Welcome aboard. All right, first item is to approve the minutes of our last administrative meeting of August 20th. Commissioner McLean.
Aye.
Commissioner Linton.
Aye.
Commissioner Sussman.
Aye.
Commissioner Barvey.
Aye.
I vote aye.
Morning, Mr. Chair. There are two items on today's consent agenda. Item number 1 is a bond cancellation for Christian Exteriors LLC from Arch Insurance, and item number 2 is a request to cancel electricity and natural gas supplier licenses from EGP Energy Solutions, DBA Atlantic Energy Resources, and EGP Energy Solutions LLC, DBA Atlantic Energy Resources.
So regarding item 1, I move we cancel the company's electricity supplier license. Commissioner McLean.
Aye.
Commissioner Linton.
Aye.
Commissioner Sussman.
Aye.
Commissioner Barvey.
Aye.
I vote aye. Regarding item 2, I move we approve the cancellation request. Commissioner McLean.
Aye.
Commissioner Linton.
Aye.
Commissioner Sussman.
Aye.
Commissioner Barvey.
Aye.
I vote aye.
Item number 3 on the administrative agenda is an application from Fiber Asset Co. LLC.
Good morning, Chair and Commissioners. Alden Manka on behalf of staff. On June 25th, 2025, Fiber Asset Co. LLC filed an application for operating authority to provide resold and facilities-based local exchange services in Maryland. The company states it will provide wholesale special access services to other carriers and customers primarily with SONET, Ethernet, and wavelength services. These are all fiber-based services. The company does not plan to provide local exchange service or exchange access service. Under Public Utilities Article 1-101 NN1, a telephone company means a public service company that 1. Owns telephone lines to receive, transmit, or communicate local exchange telephone service, exchange access telephone service, or teletype services, or 2. Leases, licenses, or sells local exchange telephone services, exchange access telephone services, or teletype services. As the services the company plans to provide are neither, the Commission does not have jurisdiction over the services this company plans to offer. Therefore, staff recommends the Commission note the filing. Thank you, and I am available for questions.
So, any questions for staff? All right, I move that we note the filing. Commissioner McLean.
Aye.
Commissioner Linton.
Aye.
Commissioner Sussman.
Aye.
Commissioner Barvey.
Aye.
I vote aye.
Item number 4 is an update from the Baltimore Gas and Electric Company.
Good morning, Chair and Commissioners. David Hoppock on behalf of staff. In its June 23rd monthly compliance filing in response to Order 91638 regarding Do Not Transfer List implementation, BGE asked for Commission guidance on 2 items. One item is implementing an automated block of retail supply enrollments of customers on the Do Not Transfer List. And the other item is allowing a customer to opt in and opt out of the Do Not Transfer List through the customer's online BGE account. BGE estimated it would cost about $400,000 to automate blocking of an enrollment of a customer on the Do Not Transfer List for gas and electric. BGE stated that the compliance obligation not to enroll customers on the Do Not Transfer List rests with retail suppliers. Staff agrees that at this time, it is not cost effective for BGE to implement an automatic block of Do Not Transfer List customer enrollments because of the lack of activity in the residential retail choice market and the low current BGE customer enrollment in the do not transfer list. Staff recommends that the commission require BGE to report attempted enrollment of customers on the do not transfer list at the time of the enrollment as part of BGE's existing PC 67 reporting as specified by staff in its comments. This will ensure the commission staff, and Office of People's Counsel are aware of any attempted enrollments of customers on BGE's do not transfer list. Regarding allowing a customer to opt in and opt out of the do not transfer list through the customer's online BGE account, BGE estimated this would cost about $3.9 million to implement for gas and electric. BGE recommends removing an unvalidated web form to enroll in the do not transfer list and require customers to call BGE to opt in and opt out of the do not transfer list. Staff supports BGE's recommendation. Additionally, BGE requests regulatory asset treatment for costs to implement the do not transfer list. BGE estimates the cost to implement the do not transfer list, assuming customers must use the call center and no automatic blocks of do not transfer list customer enrollments, is approximately $1.7 million. Staff does not object to granting a regulatory asset for the costs incurred to implement the do not transfer list because this requirement is based on a change in statute. Staff recommends that the commission accept BGE's proposal not to implement an automated enrollment block for do not transfer list customers at this time and require BGE to provide reporting as recommended by staff that lists any retail supplier enrollments for customers on the do not transfer list. Staff additionally recommends that the commission direct BGE to complete the lower cost and partial automation of the do not transfer list. I'm available for questions.
So, questions for Commissioner Sussman?
Okay, so good morning, Mr. Hoppick. I'm a little confused, so maybe you can walk me through all of the different requests and suggestions about recording attempted enrollment. And I guess I don't quite understand what the attempted enrollment is. But before we even get there, I'm looking at your buck sheet, table 1. We have a lot of calls made and requests on a website made for January, February, and I guess part of March, and then things slow down substantially. So in the January, February, March period, was there any automation in those calls or access to a website, or was it simply somebody sort of noting on a spreadsheet that a particular person called and they want to be on the do not transfer list?
So the earlier part of that table, when there's more enrollments, is when BGE was doing more active education regarding the do not transfer list. Right now, there is a web form, and as part of that education, they noted the web form and directed customers to the web form. The web form allows you to sign up for the do not transfer list. The issue is that there's not a login type process to verify you are who you say you are.
Okay, but
So
there was no, in the January, February, March period, there was no automation connected to this. There was no login. Do you have a sense of how much money BGE spent for that January, February, March period and noting these calls or requests through the website form?
So they gave us the total cost to implement Do Not Transfer List to date, plus the cost to automate putting the Do Not Transfer List on a secure web portal for suppliers to access, because suppliers need to know who's on the Do Not Transfer List.
Okay, but what I'm asking
That total is 1.7 million.
that's what they've already spent or what they intend to spend?
They've spent, my understanding is they spent approximately 1.5 million, and my understanding is this includes things like the education campaign, changes to the website to explain the Do Not Transfer List, and then there's approximately 200,000 outstanding to automate putting the Do Not Transfer List on a secure website for suppliers.
Okay, so I'm going to write this down. So how much has BGE already spent? Your understanding?
Approximately $1.5 million.
Okay, and they would like to spend another 200,000.
Yes.
Okay, and then what else are they asking for spend?
Well, they're giving two options that they recommend against doing that would cost additional money. So one of the things that they could do, but they recommend against doing, is automating a block of enrollments for customers on the Do Not Transfer List. The Commission's order, the order number straight, 91638 made clear that the compliance obligation regarding the Do Not Transfer List in terms of not doing enrollments for those customers is the obligation is on the retail supplier. So they estimate the cost to implement an automated block, whereas there was a enrollment submitted and that customer was on the Do Not Transfer List, the system would automatically reject it. They estimate that to cost approximately $400,000. And they said plus or minus 25%, and that would be for gas and electric. The second option they give us that they're not recommending is right now, if you're a BGE customer, obviously you can log into your BGE account. And when you log into your BGE account, there's an online credentialing system, and they have faith that you are who you say you are. That system does not currently allow you to say, yes, I'd like to be added to or removed from the Do Not Transfer List. To do that, BGE estimates it would cost about $3.9 million, plus or minus 25%. They are recommending against that. Staff is supporting that. The customer would just call BGE to add themselves or remove themselves from the Do Not Transfer List, and BGE has processes to verify the identity of the caller.
Okay, so if we take those two options off the table, this 200,000 that they're requesting and staff is recommending, if we were to deny that spend, what would be the consequences of that?
So my understanding is now for the Do Not Transfer List, right, there has to be a way to provide the Do Not Transfer List to suppliers. And my understanding is currently that it's basically an emailing system. And the proposal is to put it on a secure website that only suppliers licensed in the BGE service territory can use, and they go to the website to access the Do Not Transfer List.
Okay, if we authorize the additional spend and no suppliers show up, or one or two suppliers show up, it seems to me that that's a lot of spend for entities that are not able to take advantage of it, as opposed to if we don't allow the spend now and we wait to see if suppliers show up, and if there are a lot of suppliers that show up, we could always authorize the spend at a later date. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so suppliers need to have the list. I believe what you're saying is, the retail choice market for residential is pretty dormant, right? So people aren't actively seeking customers. I assume I would want BG to weigh in on this, that they could defer putting the do not transfer list on the secure web portal. Part of my understanding of the desire to do that is that a secure web portal is safer than the emailing method, right? Because the do not transfer list has the customers not to be contacted, so it does have individual customer information. But I would like BG to weigh in on what you've suggested as a potential pathway, please.
Or a phone call. I mean, it doesn't have to necessarily be. I'm just concerned about. I mean, they've already spent 1.5 million, and now they want to spend another 200,000, and I'm worried about them building out infrastructure that will have no value, and all this will result in is just more money that ratepayers are paying.
Yeah, so I understand where you're going, and that was the primary reason behind staff saying let's not at this time automate blocks of the do not transfer list and have customers enroll in the do not transfer list through their My Account on their BG website. My understanding is there's not a system where a supplier would call to ask about a customer being on the do not transfer list. That's not how it's set up. The supplier gets the do not transfer list. It is their responsibility not to contact those customers, not to attempt to enroll those customers. It's a question of how we provide the list to them.
Okay, so the list would either be through email, which is less secure, or through a portal that will cost $200,000 to build.
Yes, but I think it would be helpful to make sure BG agrees on all the precise details of that.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
Any other questions for staff? Okay, so one question I have. So we have this proposal from BG&E, and there's one behind it with Potomac Edison. What's the situation with Pepco, DPL, and everybody else?
Yeah, no, PHI is doing blocks of customers on the do not transfer list. SMECO is planning to implement blocks of customers on the do not transfer list after they do a separate system upgrade. So they said they would implement it what I would characterize as early March 2026. Please keep in mind that retail choice activity is significantly lower in the SMECO service territory. And then staff's understanding is additionally WGL is blocking attempted enrollments for customers on the do not transfer list. Keep in mind that gas utilities use XML, not EDI. So there's a bit of a different mechanism there.
Okay, so doesn't it make sense though for us to have a policy that applies to everybody across the board as opposed to sort of one-offing these things?
So in the order, and this is addressed in the applicable law section of the comments. The Order 91638 specifically directed the utilities to report to the Commission on whether EDI can be implemented in a cost, the block of customers on the do not transfer list can be implemented in a cost effective manner. And so we had two utilities say we don't think it's cost effective, namely Potomac Edison and BGE. And whereas the other utilities have already done it or in Smecco's case, are planning to do it.
Okay. All right, thank you. Any other questions? All right. Sir,
Mr. Hoppick, just to confirm, staff does not oppose BG's request for a regulatory asset. Is that correct?
That is
All
correct.
right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
okay, so,
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Good morning, Commissioners. Portia Ojo for OPC. So OPC agrees with staff's recommendation to allow BGE to cease maintenance of a web form for customer enrollment in the Do Not Transfer list, which still requires manual processing on the part of BGE, and instead allow BGE to provide for customer enrollment through the BGE call center. OPC similarly agrees with staff's recommendation that the Commission should not require BGE to implement any automated block on retail supply enrollment of the Do Not Transfer list customers due to the high cost and low participation in the retail supply market at this time. OPC agrees with staff's recommendation, instead that the Commission should direct BGE to complete a partial automation of the Do Not Transfer list at a much lower cost and require BGE to provide monthly reporting of any attempted supplier enrollment for oversight purposes. And finally, on the issue of creating regulatory assets for costs incurred by BGE to implement the Do Not Transfer list, OPC recommends that the Commission allow BGE to establish a regulatory asset to track the costs associated with implementing the Do Not Transfer list. However, any cost recovery, including the prudency of those costs and return, if any, should be deferred for determination in a future rate case. And with that, we are available for any questions.
questions for OPC? All right, seeing none, let me
Good morning, Commissioners. Beverly Sikora on behalf of BG. First, I want to thank staff, in particular Mr. Hoppick, for his thorough work on this and keeping the issue alive to help us get a decision. Agree with staff's recommendation. Also with OPC's, and as you know, whenever BGE can agree with something that OPC recommends, we're happy to do that. I'll just say, it's my recollection that in one of the many orders on SB1 implementation that the Commission directed us to create a secure website to put these supplier lists on, because right now we're sending them via email. Emails are password, I think the files are password protected, but these files do have the customer, I think the choice ID. I don't know if it's the account number too, but they've got, customer information. So, it's much preferable to, we already have a supplier website, a secure, this is, the 200,000 are for modifications to automatically transfer the list to the website or to the secure website so that suppliers can just go get it whenever it's updated.
Okay, questions for, actually, let me start with Commissioner Linton, and then I'll come back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning. Just wanted to confirm a few things that we saw in the staff report regarding the activity in the industry. Has the utility company had any new suppliers attempting to participate in the market under your supplier coordination tariff? Has anybody?
No, if anything, it's still dropping.
Okay, so we actually have them leaving as opposed to.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
I don't know our exact enrollment numbers, but the residential, it's fewer and fewer customers and fewer suppliers, out there serving those customers.
Okay, so we don't have we have fewer suppliers attempting to participate with you. Have you been receiving enrollments from any suppliers? Anybody trying to sign customers up?
For residential?
For residential, yes.
Don't believe, I don't think, yeah, goose egg, no.
Goose at 0, okay. All right, thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Commissioner Schlesman.
Yeah, good morning, Ms. Cora. So the 1.5 million that has been spent, can you give me a sense of why it was that amount of money? I mean, you have call centers. I mean, I'm assuming the call centers are staffed. You didn't have to hire additional people in the call centers to take the calls.
Right.
The information coming through the website, I guess you'd have people sort of inputting that. So what was involved in the 1.5 million spend?
It was the programming just to get the logic into our customer care system already, and then to use that logic to then create the list. And then there was the information, the communications we had that went out at the beginning of the year to inform, some of it wasn't, static, it was additional. So that's pretty much, I believe, everything. I'm looking at my call center, my care people. So there were things that we just had to do to implement SB1 behind the scenes to track it and to create the list. So that's what that is. I mean,
I guess my frustration is, so we're looking at nearly $2 million for a list that possibly no one will use. It just seems like it just seems like there could have been a more cost-effective way of tackling this issue, kind of recognizing that the market was shrinking. I mean, I understand the sort of putting in that spend if there was a vibrant market that would need this data, but I just and I know that, I mean, we're not doing a prudency review right now, and we will do it at some point, but it just seems to me that this was a lot of spend for not a lot of value.
we did what we had to do to comply with the law. And, we did it, and again, BGE identified areas where we didn't think it made sense. We didn't think it was cost effective. So again, the 1.5 is what we baseline what we needed to do. And at the time we were making a lot of those decisions, we didn't know that the suppliers were we suspected that the suppliers were going to leave the residential market, but we didn't know. So, we couldn't have done things on the speculation that, these are going to, people are going to go. We just didn't know. You had suppliers repeatedly telling us that they still needed to make decisions. And so, again, what we spent was what we felt we had to spend to comply with the bare minimums of the law. And, we, as did PE, we came to the commission with areas where we didn't think it was cost effective. And yet it's kind of interesting that now we're getting challenged on what we did spend, and other utilities who haven't come at all with their costs, are kind of getting let off the hook, perhaps, with you not knowing even how much they're spending.
Well, we will know at some point.
Okay.
It's just that you're here now.
Yes.
And I'm just, I'm looking at a very large bill, and for what could end up not ever being used or used very sparingly. And it's hard for me to imagine that there's not a way that you could have implemented what we had asked you to do without spending almost $2 million.
I don't know what to say. I trust our people that they did what they had to do to comply. Again, we looked at this and we did what we had to do. That was the cost. We didn't necessarily have a lot of time to come to the commission with every decision about it. I think we communicated estimates, at least in data requests. And so, that was what it was. At this point, I don't know how better to answer your question. I don't think what we've done was in any way more than we had to do to implement this. And again, we thoroughly looked at how to do it in a cost-effective manner, without going through, we've been doing things very manually, which is always somewhat dangerous because, manual processes are more likely to have errors. But, again, we're only, going to do what we've now, this extra 200,000 is really now to just make sure that the customer information is being given to the suppliers in, the most secure manner that we can.
Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay. Any
Chair
other
Hoover,
questions? Oh.
may I be heard?
Sure.
Thank you so much, Chair. I just wanted to add that Mr. Hoppick's buck sheet at the top of page 6, and I don't know if this helps Commissioner Suchman or not, but he says, while recommending regulatory asset treatment, whether those costs end up getting included in rate base earning a return and an appropriate amortization period should be deferred for future consideration when the costs are subject to recovery in that future rate case. Staff would review the proposed regulatory asset costs for propriety at that time. Thank you.
So,
Go.
Ms. Herman, no, I made the point earlier when Ms. Cora sort of noted that we weren't seeing the PHI companies. We're not making a prudency determination. It's just that, at least in my 2 years of experience, it's much easier to deal with the matter when there hasn't been a spend, as opposed to situations where the money's been spent and we're looking at prudency. So, thank you.
Okay. All right, seeing nothing else. All right, I move we accept the company's proposal not to implement an automated enrollment block for the do not transfer list customers at this time. Direct the company to provide reporting as recommended by staff in its comments of August 20th, 2025 that lists any retail supplier enrollments for customers on the do not transfer list, and direct the company to complete the lower cost and partial automation of the do not transfer list. Commissioner McLean.
Your Honor, before you vote, may I be heard just briefly, just to clarify something in your motion?
Sure.
There was a request from the company as well for regulatory asset treatment and for a rate of return on that regulatory asset. And I just want to make sure it's clear in the motion that you are not approving the rate of return or the prudency of the request. I'm not sure it was clear in that motion.
Okay, my understanding was that both you and staff were okay with the regulatory asset.
We're all right with the regulatory asset, but both staff and OPC, I believe in staff's buck sheet as well, and Ruthie Herman can confirm, did not recommended against including an immediate rate of return on the regulatory asset, but deferring that for decision along with the prudency of that spend to the next rate case. What BGE is requesting is immediate ROR treatment on that regulatory asset as it's earning it. And I just want to make sure that the motion does not approve that.
Okay. So, Mr. Hoppick, is that your...
So staff's recommendation for BGE just speaks to specifically implementation of the automated block for the do not transfer list and not spending money to automate the do not transfer list enrollment through BGE online account. The recommendation itself in the buck sheet comments does not mention cost recovery or the regulatory asset.
Thank you. Just one.
Okay. Wait a minute.
So I guess, and maybe Ms. Herman, you can clarify this for me. What would be the value to the utility of a regulatory asset without allowing for a rate of return, as opposed to just not dealing with this and then dealing with it in the next rate case?
Thank you, Commissioner Suchman. I actually don't know, and I don't think I have any accountants here. So I don't know. I'm sorry. We can find out and let you know by the end of the day, but I don't know. I suppose there's some certainty for them.
But there wouldn't be certainty because we're not going to be dealing with the prudency issue. So there will have been a spend. They will account for the spend, and then they will come and seek cost recovery. But if we're not allowing for, maybe Mr. Frayne can respond.
Yeah, he could tell you.
Okay.
I mean, I assume the reg asset, it has the potential to start accruing now. But yeah, Mr. Frayne should respond.
Okay.
Thanks. But I also want to point out that the recommendation, I think what Dave just said, the buck sheet just talks about approving what they asked for. It doesn't mention anything about reg asset treatment.
Okay.
I
I understand. So let me hear from the company on this, and then
just, so you know, we're not asking that we accrue a return now. Well, between now and whenever we come in. That's not, it's at the time, it would be included in rate base via the determination. The word is a perfective rate regulatory asset. That's when you do start accruing the return from the time that it's implemented. That's not what we're asking. We're just, it's gonna, whatever the dollars are gonna go, you know, whatever it turns out to be, $2 million, that's gonna go sit in an account. When we go, and it will, for purposes of reporting, it will be in rate base, and it'll do the, you know, math to show what the return would or wouldn't be. But we're not accruing a return, or we're not proposing to accrue a return between now and whenever we come in for a rate case. That's not what we're asking for. So this issue is kind of moot, because that's not what we're asking.
Well, then I'm confused about what you're asking for.
We're
You're-
asking, we have to get permission from the commission to create regulatory assets.
Right, but what would be the point of having the regulatory asset for the company now, as opposed to waiting for the next rate case and asking for cost recovery?
I'm gonna let Mr. Craig.
So, Commissioner Schlechman, John Frayne. The point of getting the regulatory asset now is that it means that the costs that we are incurring this year, the expense that we would otherwise have to, you know, record and would impact the utilities' earnings this year, can be deferred into a regulatory asset and left there until such time as we come in for a rate case in, you know, the future, and it can be reviewed for prudency, and the commission can determine what should happen with it in rates. Otherwise, now that, you know, BGE is in an MYP with a stay out without a reconciliation, the expense would be put to our earnings, and we would not have any ability to ever, you know, come back and seek recovery.
If you propose an MYP, as opposed to a traditional rate case.
Well, BGE is.
No, I'm just saying that if it didn't account for in a regulatory asset, you would lose the value of it if you came to us with an MYP as opposed to a traditional rate case.
You would also lose the value in a traditional rate case.
All right.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're actually going to take this under advisement, since I don't necessarily like doing things on the fly, and we will indicate in that the language related to the regulatory asset as to what it is and what it isn't. So,
Item number 5 is a report from the Potomac Edison Company.
David Hoppick, again, on behalf of staff. In its June 23rd monthly compliance filing in response to Order 91638 regarding do not transfer list implementation, Potomac Edison stated it is not cost effective to implement an automated block of retail supply enrollments of customers on the do not transfer list. Potomac Edison estimated that the cost to implement an automated EDI block of do not transfer list customers enrollments could exceed $250,000. Additionally, Potomac Edison stated that the compliance obligation not to enroll customers on the do not transfer list rests with the retail supplier. Staff agrees that at this time, it is not cost effective for Potomac Edison to implement an automatic block of do not transfer list customer enrollments because of the lack of activity in the residential retail choice market and low current Potomac Edison customer enrollment in the do not transfer list. Staff recommends that the commission require Potomac Edison to report attempted enrollment of customers on the do not transfer list at the time of enrollment as part of Potomac Edison's existing monthly PC 67 reporting as specified by staff in its comments. Staff recommends that the commission accept Potomac Edison's proposal not to implement an automated enrollment block for do not transfer list customers at this time and require Potomac Edison to provide reporting as recommended by staff that lists any retail supplier enrollments for customers on the do not transfer list. I am available for questions.
so any questions? Oh, Commissioner Sushman.
Okay, so Mr. Hoppick, for purposes of PE, how would a retail electric supplier get access to the do not transfer list?
I believe I don't recall the discussion in the June 23rd filing, but I believe they are working on the portal if the portal is not already operational. But I would defer to the company on that question.
Okay. All right, thank you.
OPC.
Chair Hoover, OPC agrees with staff's recommendation that the Commission should not require PE to implement an automated block on retail supply enrollment of the do not transfer list customers due to high costs and low participation in the retail supply market at this time. The Commission should rather require PE to provide monthly reporting of any attempted supply enrollment for oversight purposes. And with that, we are available for any questions.
Seeing none?
Good morning, Chair and Commissioners. Jessica Reba on behalf of Potomac Edison. We also appreciate staff and Mr. Hoppick's coordination on this. We agree with their recommendation and are prepared to provide the reporting that they're asking for starting in our next monthly report.
Questions for PE, Commissioner Sussman?
Good morning, Ms. Reba. My question to Mr. Hobbick, do you have an answer to that question?
Yes, he is correct. Suppliers would log on to the secure supplier site and access the current do not transfer list.
Okay, so you've already spent the money to create this?
Correct.
Okay.
Well, the site already existed, to be clear. It was just adding the functionality of this list being there.
So the site was already there?
Correct.
And do you have a sense of how much money did you spent in?
Yeah, I was afraid you were going to ask that, and we've been frantically trying to get an answer. I don't. I can tell you that it wasn't enough to warrant asking you for a regulatory asset.
Okay.
I can tell you that IT costs to date, I think, on all of our Senate Bill 1 umbrella costs, let's call it, are about $600,000, and I would say the majority of that is probably DNT, do not transfer list related.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Linton.
thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just same questions I had for BGE regarding supplier activity in your service territory.
Same answer, very low. I think we're down to about 4,000 residential customers now that have suppliers, and there are no offers in our service territory at all.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Mr.
All right, so with that, I move we accept the company's proposal not to implement an automated enrollment block for the do not transfer list customers at this time and direct the company to provide reporting as recommended by staff in its comments stated August 20, 2025 that lists any retail supplier enrollments for customers on the do not transfer list. Commissioner McLean.
Aye.
Commissioner Linton.
Aye.
Commissioner Sussman.
Aye.
Commissioner Barbitt.
Aye.
I vote aye.
Item number 6 is a request from Delmarva Power and Light Company.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. Drew McAuliffe on behalf of staff. On August 1st, 2025, Delmarva Power and Light Company filed its request to waive the June 30th, 2026 expiration date of the rate year 3 distribution rates approved by the Commission in case number 9681. Commission order number 89482 issued on February 4th in 2020 in case number 9618 established multi-year rate plans and required that either a new traditional or MRP rate case be filed at least 210 days prior to the end of the current MRP. Delmarva previously requested an extension of its case number 9681 rate year 3 distribution rates on December 18th, 2024. DPL filed its initial request to waive the original December 31st, 2025 expiration date of the rate year 3 distribution rates approved by the Commission in case 9681. On February 3rd, 2025, the Commission granted a 6-month extension, which allowed Delmarva's rate year 3 rates to remain in effect until June 30th, 2026. In the instant filing, Delmarva is again requesting to be authorized to keep the rate year distribution rates in effect until Delmarva files a future base rate case. Delmarva notes that its request is supported by administrative efficiency and that Delmarva has not earned its authorized rate of return with its current rate year 3 rates in the most recent quarter. Staff supports Delmarva's request to suspend the rate year 3 filing deadline. This is expected to give customers near-term rate relief by keeping base distribution rates flat. If Delmarva were to file a base rate case as currently scheduled, customers would very likely see an increase in rates in 2026. This would largely be due to the rate of return for Delmarva increasing, and that's largely due to the cost of debt for Delmarva increasing since 2022. If the Commission accepts the instant request, Delmarva's rate year 3 distribution rates would be allowed to continue in effect until Delmarva files an application for its next base rate case. This is similar to the standard rate-making process when a utility files a traditional base rate case. Staff further notes that Delmarva is only proposing to remove the end date of rate year 3 rates. Staff recommends that Delmarva be required to continue to file its quarterly earned return reports to ensure that Delmarva is not over-earning. If there is evidence that Delmarva is over-earning or that the rates are no longer just and reasonable, interested parties, including staff and the Office of People's Counsel, can petition the Commission to initiate a review. Therefore, staff recommends that the Commission accept the proposed tariffs for filing with an effective date of August 27, 2025. Thank you, and I'm available for questions.
So, any questions? Oh, Commissioner Litton.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning. Just one question. And the company pointed out, and you did as well, that if they came forward with a rate case today, there could potentially be an increase to the customers in DPL service territory. So are we just postponing the inevitable here, and then making it worse by continuing to give them more time?
Sure. I don't know about making it worse. I mean, anytime, obviously we don't get very many base rate case filings where rates decrease. I understand your question. Yeah, it could make that initial rate increase slightly higher. But as we've seen, so for example, even if Delmarva was given the same return on equity, for example, that the Commission awarded them in their last case, their rate of return would increase because, as I mentioned, the cost of debt has increased, and that is just a pass-through. The number is what it is. There's no discussion over that. You know, for the 15 years prior to 2022, there essentially were barely any interest rates. So, as you can imagine, their cost of debt has been pretty low, all the utilities. And in the last few years, that has increased as they've dropped off debt and added new debt. So just with that, there would be a pretty substantial increase in the rate of return. But to get back to your question, there could be a slightly higher increase when the rates are first implemented. I can do that.
Okay. All right. I said one question. I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Chair Hoover and Commissioners. Michael Sammartino for the Office of People's Counsel. We don't have much to add to our filed comments. We don't oppose the company's request, and we agree with staff's recommendation that the company continue to file its quarterly earned return reports. I'm available for any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Seeing none, thank you.
Good morning, Chairman, Commissioners. Kim Curry, representing Delmarva Power. And this is my first opportunity to be in front of Commissioners Linton and McLean since you assumed your new role, so congratulations. I do not have anything to add, and I'm available for questions.
Seeing none. Okay, I move we accept the proposed tariffs for filing with an effective date of August 27, 2025. Commissioner McLean. Aye. Commissioner Linton.
Aye.
Commissioner Suchman.
Aye.
Commissioner Barbe.
Aye.
I vote aye.
And item number 7 is a request from ICFTS MD Solar LLC.
Good morning, Chair, Commissioners. Michael Dean on behalf of staff. Item 7 is a filing by ICFTS MD Solar LLC for a waiver of the operational deadline in COMAR 20.62.03.04C, which requires a community solar energy generating system to be operational within 3 years of its approval of the subscriber organization. The following requests that the operational deadline be extended by 6 months to December 31, 2025. The project consists of 4 co-located solar projects totaling 1.4 megawatts located at 4350 Montgomery Road in Howard County. Because the filing was made near to the original operational deadline of July 13, 2025, ICFTS requested a temporary extension of the deadline to allow its request to be heard at an administrative meeting, which the Commission granted by a letter order dated June 8, 2025. Under the Community Solar Statute at Public Utilities Section 7-306.2, small solar energy facilities are built and generate electricity for the distribution system, which is credited to the electric bills of its subscribers, which are intended to be low or moderate income customers of the local electric company. COMAR 20.62.0304C provides that if a project fails to begin operating within 36 months of the approval of the subscriber organization, the electric company is to remove the project from the electric company's program queue. COMAR 20.62.0104 provides that the Commission may waive a regulation in this subtitle for good cause shown. This is the first extension request for this project before the Public Service Company, although the project did pay a refundable deposit with the local electric company, Baltimore Gas and Electric, in 2024 to maintain its position in the queue. ICFTS is requesting a 6.5-month extension of the operational deadline to December 31, 2025 as a result of delays in the county permitting and the construction of the interconnection, which will require the relocation of some project equipment and conduit. With the project nearly complete and expected to come online this year, staff finds good cause to grant the extension and the requested waiver of the regulation. Staff recommends that the Commission grant the requested limited waiver of COMAR 20.62.0304C and extend the operational deadline for the projects to December 31, 2025.
So, any questions?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Max Cook on behalf of ICFTS MD Solar LLC. I'm also joined by Mr. Joel Malafite, Senior Director of Development for Summit Ridge Energy, the developer owner of the project. We've reviewed staff's filing and are here to answer any questions from the Commission. Thank you.
Commissioner Linton.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good morning. Just a couple questions. I won't say one this time. Does this project have any customers currently subscribed? And if so, have you already communicated to them when the project will begin?
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Joel Malafite. I'm with Summit Ridge Energy here on behalf of ICFTF MD Solar LLC. Yes, we have begun subscribing customers to this project. At present, it's 95% subscribed. The communications to the customers from our aggregator partner, Neighborhood Sun, have been to let them know that the project is under construction and expected to be in operation this year.
Okay, so you just told them this year.
Yeah, I don't believe that they're communicating specific dates. It's more, we're under construction, working towards the operation of the project.
Okay. All right, that's all I had. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, so the filing made some mention about permitting delays in Howard County, and I guess I was a little surprised because they're not amongst the usual suspects when this comes to be a problem. I mean, was this something unique to this particular project, or was this something more systematic with their system?
Yeah, great question. We were asked to make multiple rounds of revisions to the site plan and the engineering design for the project. This does happen from time to time, whether it's the plan reviewer that pulled the project had additional questions or requests for revisions, but we typically see these approvals take 3 to 6 months. This one took about 8 months to get through till we're building an electrical permit issuance.
Okay. All right. Seeing nobody else, I move we grant the requested limited waiver of Comar 20.62.04C and extend the operational deadline for the projects to December 31, 2025. Commissioner McLean.
Aye.
Commissioner Linton.
Aye.
Commissioner Suchman.
Aye.
Commissioner Barvick.
Aye.
I vote aye. And with that, we're adjourned. Oh, wait a minute. So we got one more item. Yeah, okay.
Good morning, Chair and Commissioners. Andrew Schlicht on the behalf of staff. On July 23rd, 2025, SMECO filed a request with the Commission seeking permission to sunset certain Empower-based programs. These are the Energy Perks program, which is a series of interactive online lessons for participants to learn about energy savings and energy efficiency. The second program is the online marketplace, where members of SMECO can redeem points, can use coupons to purchase energy efficient appliances such as smart thermostats. The third program seeking to be sunset is the My Energy Target. This is a behavior-based program for residential members. SMECO cites three main reasons in seeking permission to sunset these programs: the reduced participation, reduced savings, and increased costs. With fewer participants in these online lessons for Energy Perks and fewer purchasings being taken place at the online marketplace, there have also been a reduction in savings both on the energy efficiency side and the greenhouse gas emission reductions. The online marketplace has also seen an increase in costs over the years, roughly 80% increase since 2021. SMECO finally notes in its filing that terminating each of these programs will result in roughly a $1.37 savings for members each month on their bill. SMECO does also request permission to retain $250,000, $250,000, in response to the possible termination of Energy Star at the federal level. Such funds would be used in assisting the transition to a more downstream approach, and any funds that do not end up being used would be returned to the ratepayers through their true-up mechanism. Staff recommends the Commission approve the sunsetting of these three programs, the retention of this $250,000 reserve fund, and is also available for any questions.
So, questions for staff? All right, seeing none.
Good morning, Chair Hoover, members of the Commission. Damon Krieger on behalf of Southern Maryland Electric Cooperative, and thanks to Mr. Johnston for remembering that we are at the end of the agenda today, so appreciate that. We didn't want to be forgotten. So just a couple of points. First of all, thanks to staff and to Maryland OPC for supporting our request to sunset these programs. And let me just hit a few highlights that I want to make sure the Commission is cognizant of here. First of all, the sunset of these programs will not impact the cooperative's ability to achieve its targeted reduction goals for the 2024-2026 program cycle. So that's sort of an important consideration here as we move forward with our request. As staff indicated, there will be a positive impact from the sunset of these programs to our customer members in the form of a reduced budget to the tune of about almost $3 million, which translates into a bill impact of about $1.37 per month for the average residential customer. So in a time where affordability is very much in focus for the cooperative and our membership, it's not an insignificant amount of money, and that's important. We regularly perform data-driven analysis to determine whether each program within the portfolio should continue to be a part of the program. And participation is a key part of that analysis. We want to reflect and create programs that are mindful of what our customers want, what they desire in order to meet their individual goals and the state's goals. And so with that, these particular programs have experienced a significant decline in participation. And so to us, that's a signal from our membership that they may not be the right construct for them in order to take advantage of Empower Maryland. And so that's an important consideration here. Also, our portfolio, to respond to Maryland OPC's comments with respect to a focus on energy efficiency in addition to greenhouse gas reduction, from SMECO's perspective, our portfolio is very much designed with energy efficiency in mind. And as I think the Commission is well aware, our territory is already highly electrified. And so with that in mind, it's even more important for us to focus on energy efficiency as a means to reach more of our membership. Some members that are already highly electrified can't take advantage of the program to the degree of others when it comes to fuel switching and other opportunities. And so energy efficiency is very much top of mind. So in terms of being reminded about that, we're fine of being reminded about that because we're already doing it. So certainly no issue with OPC's request in that respect. With that, happy to answer any questions that the Commission may have.
Commissioner Sushman.
Good morning, Mr. Krieger. I'm sorry we forgot about you. So the 3 programs accounted for about $2.8 million budget for SMECO. Had you thought about taking that money and trying to implement other programs, sort of recognizing that these programs were no longer cost effective? Had you thought about looking at other programs, since you've sort of the money's sort of already there, your customers are sort of acclimated to paying that. Was that in the calculus of?
So I may phone a friend on this one. However, I would at least initially answer your question in saying that we continually look for opportunities to further drive our goals. But since we are on a current path to achieve our goals, and we don't need these programs to achieve those goals, the focus on affordability and the opportunity to reduce costs and thereby rates paid through the Empower Maryland surcharge mechanism seem to be a paramount concern when it comes to our customers. But certainly, as we look to the next cycle, we continue to revisit additional opportunities, and the elimination of these programs now certainly won't now carry forward to the next cycle, and therefore there will be additional opportunities to identify other programs that could potentially replace them and drive our goals further.
Okay, but this is something sort of you do on an annual basis, looking to other opportunities. You're not just sort of saying, okay, we're done with these, now we don't have to do any more.
We're always looking for additional opportunities. And in fact, that's why we wanted to shift some of the budget to a reserve in anticipation of the possible end to the Energy Star program, so that we could look in real time to move from midstream to downstream incentives to replace some of that lost opportunity.
Okay, so anticipating that we are going to start to see further reductions from DOE, from the rest of the federal government, are you, other than the Energy Star program, are you looking at sort of other programs that you may have to sort of beef up because of the loss of federal funding?
So I'm going to ask Jennifer Raley, who manages our program, directly to answer your question.
Okay,
if that's
thank
okay.
you.
Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. Jennifer Raley. Yes, we're always looking at that right now, but with the other programs, we have budgets for those programs. So if there are shifts or things that we need to make, we have budgets within those programs to make them.
Okay, so given that this is your focus, other than Energy Star, what other federal programs are you concerned about losing funding from?
I think mainly for us right now, it's the Energy Star program, because that could impact a couple different programs for us, but mainly like our appliance program, and in particular the ESRPP, which is the retail products platform. That could be impacted if Energy Star ends that program, and that's why we would have to shift to a downstream model.
Okay, all right, thank you.
All right, so actually, before you leave, the Energy Star issue. So I saw the announcement, I guess, from the EPA administrator that they wanted to get rid of Energy Star. But if I remember right, that's sort of jointly shared between DOE and EPA. And I guess the question is, do they have the ability to just unilaterally get rid of it?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Because I guess what I'm wondering is, if we, grant this request today, and they don't get rid of Energy Star because, the other people decide that it's actually pretty stupid to do that, I mean, what position will that put you in?
Yeah, so I'll say two things.
Sure.
First of all, certainly the current administration feels like it can take actions whether or not it can do so. So I guess time will tell with this respect to a particular one, whether it manifests itself. With respect to our particular request, we have asked to put it in a reserve fund. If it doesn't happen, the money will not be spent.
Okay, all right. Okay, all right, with that, I move that we grant the company's request to.
Mr. Chair, I think OPC wants.
Oh, okay, wait a minute. So, all right.
I think now we are in the process of forgetting people. I think OPC has no objection to SMECO's request, and our issue on cost-effective energy efficiency issues has been resolved or has been mentioned, and we think that it's best repeating that the Commission should let Empower Utilities know that GHG reduction is not devoid of cost-effective energy efficiency method. And with that, we are available for any questions.
Okay, any questions? All right, seeing none. All right, then I move we grant SMECO's request to end 3 Empower programs by the end of 2025. Energy Perks, the SMECO online marketplace, and My Energy Target. Commissioner McLean. Aye. Commissioner Linton.
Aye.
Commissioner Suchman.
Aye.
Commissioner Barbic.
Aye.